Did you know that a high priest ordered Jesus' passing? The high priest Caiaphas played a pivotal role in the trial and crucifixion of Jesus Christ, a sacrificial act that Christianity was built upon. But later, haunted by rumors of Christ's resurrection, Caiaphas had a vision where he met the risen Messiah. This experience changed his life, filling the once cunning high priest with guilt. What is this vision that transformed him? What exactly did he see and hear? Join us as we travel back to Jerusalem to witness the two testimonies of Caiaphas, the chief Pharisee, about Jesus of Nazareth. Caiaphas the high priest. Caiaphas served as the high priest in Jerusalem during a tumultuous period in Jewish history. As a member of the influential Sadducee party, he held both religious and political power. When a preacher named Jesus began performing miracles and attracting large crowds, Caiaphas became worried. Many believed Jesus was the Messiah. Caiaphas was concerned that Jesus' popularity could provoke the Romans and threaten his own position of authority. When he saw crowds cheering for Jesus as he entered Jerusalem, Caiaphas felt compelled to take action. He initiated the events that led to the trial and execution of Jesus, a figure many still believe to be the Son of God. During the reign of King Herod and under Roman rule, the high priesthood was mainly controlled by a small group of wealthy families in the Sadducee party. These families worked closely with the Romans, who found it convenient to handle Jewish matters through them. In exchange, the priests gained power, status, and riches. The high priest was at the pinnacle of this Jewish religious elite. Chosen by the Roman governor, he was responsible for maintaining order in Jerusalem and preserving stability in the Jewish faith. Any challenge to this established system threatened his own position and privileges. Jesus of Nazareth entered this politically charged religious environment. He was a preacher who spoke about the imminent arrival of the kingdom of God and attracted a large following among the Jewish commoners. His teachings made the authorities uneasy. However, when Jesus arrived in Jerusalem during Passover and was greeted with enthusiastic cheers from pilgrims who believed he was the long-awaited Messiah, the high priest Caiaphas took notice. In a rush, Caiaphas called together members of the Jewish ruling council, the Sanhedrin, to his palace. They discussed among themselves what should be done about this man. He was performing many miracles, and more people were starting to believe in him. They were concerned that if Jesus kept attracting followers, the Romans might interpret it as a challenge to their authority. This crackdown could jeopardize not only their positions of power, but also their lives. The safety of the entire Jewish nation was also at risk. Seeing the growing panic, the cunning high priest Caiaphas spoke up, scolding them for not understanding. He argued that it was better for one man to die than for the entire nation to be destroyed. Though he claimed to care about the Jewish people, Caiaphas was really only concerned about himself. He then bluntly stated that Jesus needed to be killed quickly. With those words, the powerful religious leader initiated a series of events that would lead to the trial and execution of Jesus Christ. Little did he know that Christianity would emerge from this, and within a few centuries, Roman persecution of Christians would make it the official religion of the very empire he was trying to appease. Caiaphas paced back and forth in his lavishly decorated chambers in the Temple of Jerusalem. As high priest of the Jewish Sanhedrin, the weight of leadership weighed heavily on his shoulders. He could hear the commotion rising from the streets below his windows, angry voices yelling, feet running to and fro. The city was on edge over the controversial preacher from Nazareth called Jesus. While some believed him to be the long-awaited Messiah, others saw him as a troublemaker threatening to distort the social order. Caiaphas worried Jesus' provocations would bring the fury of Rome down upon Judea. Just the day before, Caiaphas had received an urgent summons to stand trial before Pontius Pilate to explain his actions against this so-called king of the Jews. Rubbing his wrinkled forehead, Caiaphas recalled when he'd first met the carpenter's son from Galilee 3 years ago. He had gone in disguise to listen to Jesus preach near the Sea of Galilee and was surprised by the young man's wisdom. Yet he also sensed the dangerous potency of his message. When Jesus healed the sick and lame right before his eyes, Caiaphas wondered, could he be the Messiah? Upon returning to Jerusalem, Caiaphas commenced a secret investigation into Jesus' background, and trouble emerged. Many witnesses, both followers and detractors, attested to Jesus transgressing sacred Jewish customs. He associated with sinners like tax collectors and prostitutes. He did not keep the Sabbath and seemed to care little for ritual purity laws. Most alarming were Jesus' brazen claims to have authority over the temple, the law, and the entire Jewish priesthood. He declared ominously in one sermon that the time has come and the kingdom of God is near. The Sanhedrin elders concurred that Jesus threatened to divide the Jewish nation with his radical ideas. When Caiaphas learned Jesus had driven money changers from the temple courts, he could not stand it any longer. After his guards arrested Jesus in the olive groves of Gethsemane, Caiaphas determined to extract answers from the rabble-rouser. Sitting on his carved, gilded throne in his judgment hall, Caiaphas stared down at the unkempt prisoner with contempt. Jesus returned his gaze calmly as Caiaphas recited the litany of charges against him. The high priest pressed Jesus to explain his inflammatory actions and asked him, "If the council forgives you, will you desist from these activities in the future?" Jesus lifted his thorn-pierced head defiantly and replied, "I will not." After conferring with his temple elders, Caiaphas regretfully passed judgment, passing by crucifixion. He rationalized he had no choice but to remove this troubling threat to preserve the Jewish nation. "Let his blood be on our hands and on our children's hands," Caiaphas thought grimly. Hours later, Caiaphas was shocked to receive word that this troublesome prisoner had been executed by the Romans. He sent an urgent message to Pontius Pilate, insisting that Jesus' trial was unlawful and should have come before the Jewish Supreme Court. He suspected Pilate rushed to judgment out of fear or malice. It was this hasty, unjust passing sentence Caiaphas now found himself answering for before the Roman procurator. Snapping back to the present, Caiaphas sighed and adjusted his emerald-encrusted breastplate. His servants arrived to escort him to Pilate's palace for interrogation. As Caiaphas descended through the frenzied city streets, he steeled himself to defend his people from Roman retaliation. Little did he know, the humble Galilean he sentenced would soon turn the world upside down, and Caiaphas's role in the Messiah's passing would live on forever. Astonishing reports swirled of a miracle man named Jesus, displaying supernatural powers. Did he truly heal the sick and subdue nature itself? Let's examine the accounts and see. This Jewish historian served as a commander in Galilee during the first Jewish revolt against Rome. After his capture, Josephus earned favor with the imperial family by writing histories that were sympathetic to Rome. Yet, his mention of Caiaphas, and the year he assumed the high priesthood, provided early extra-biblical evidence of Caiaphas's existence. In 1990, archaeologists uncovered startling physical evidence that Caiaphas was a real historical figure. While excavating a burial site south of the old city of Jerusalem, they discovered beautifully decorated bone boxes with Aramaic inscriptions. One of these boxes was labeled Joseph, son of Caiaphas. Inside, they found the remains of a 60-year-old man, an appropriate age given Caiaphas's year of ascent to the high priesthood as mentioned by Josephus. This discovery allowed modern science to weigh in on textual accounts of this pivotal biblical character. Thanks to archaeology, there is little doubt that the high priest Caiaphas played a real, significant role in the political maneuverings that led to the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. His decision to sacrifice one man for his nation changed the course of history more than he could have imagined. Like this video and subscribe for more exciting content. Also, drop your movie suggestions in the comments below.